Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting for Tuesday, July 15th to order. Please join me in an invocation. Dear Lord, as we take tonight's business, keep us mindful of your presence, guide us in our deliberations and decisions, ensure that we respect each other and respect the views of all in the room, and come out with the best answers for, or best recommendations for the citizens of McLendon-Chisholm. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, now join me in the pledges. The American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. And God bless Texas. All right. With that, I'm going to open item 4, citizens' comments. Mr. Mayor.
Test. That's loud. Sorry about that. So, dear Chair and Commissioners, I stand before you this evening with a deep sense of appreciation and gratitude for each of you. It is essential to recognize that your roles are far from trivial. They are integral to shaping the very future of our community. The work that you do plays a critical role in guiding the direction of our city, and I cannot emphasize enough how vital this is, not just for today, but for generations to come. You provide invaluable insights to the City Council on matters of land use, development, and zoning regulations. The decisions you make help ensure responsible growth, allowing us to nurture and protect the unique character that makes our community special. You carry out your duties with a keen understanding of the importance of public health and safety, ensuring that every recommendation you offer contributes positively to our city's well-being. As an advisory board to the City Council, your expertise is invaluable to us. It is our duty on the Council to listen attentively to your recommendations and take them to heart. I can personally attest to the wisdom behind this, having seen firsthand the backlash of going against it. Your careful deliberations and recommendations serve as a foundation upon which we build policies that affect every resident in our city. You are tasked with many careful considerations, weighing the pros and cons of various proposals to ensure that the best decisions are made before they reach us, the elected officials. Your dedication to the responsibility does not go unnoticed, and it is through your diligence that we can look ahead and with confidence. At this moment, our city stands on the threshold of significant growth. We are embarking on a vision that emphasizes essential commercial development, which is crucial for sustaining our community. The ability to accommodate and integrate this growth while maintaining our unique character is the delicate balance, one that you navigate with expertise and care. I take immense pride in knowing each of you and witnessing the integrity and respect you bring to your service. The way you treat one another and honor differing opinions during discussions sets a tone of collaboration and unity within our community. You embody the standards we should all strive for in our interactions, and for that I am profoundly grateful. In conclusion, I want to reiterate my heartfelt thanks for the work you do. Your contributions are invaluable, and I want you to know that your efforts are deeply appreciated by me and undoubtedly by many others within our community. So thank you once again for your commitments and service. And as I always say, take care and be safe, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the kind words and support, and we appreciate you. Okay, with that, I'm going to move to close item 4, move to item 5, public hearing. So at 1834, I'm opening the public hearing that's being held to receive comment on the consideration of a zoning change from general business to planned development with a base district of general business with additional permitted uses located at 311 State Highway 205, McLendon-Chisholm, Texas, Rockwell CAD ID 16824. So with that, I'm opening the public hearing.
And CAD ID 16825.
Right. Yes. And with that, no citizens are wishing to make any comment to the public hearing, so I'm going to close it at 18:34. Move on to item 6, approval of the minutes. Item 6.1, consider approving the minutes from June 17th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting. I'm looking for a motion of approval.
I will make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Show that unanimous. Thank you. Now I'm going to move on to item 7.1, which is to consider the application of for 311 State Highway 205 LLC, requesting the approval of a planned development district with a base zoning at general business and additional permitted uses and development standards. The subject property is located at the northeast corner of FM 550 and State Highway 205. The property contains 6.17 acres of land, is included in Rockwell CAD ID 16824 and 16825. The zoning of subject property will amend the official zoning map of the city of McLendon-Chisholm. And with that, I'm going to ask for a staff report. We'll have opportunity for the applicant to also make comments that you wish to make after the staff report. And what I'm going to do is ask it that after they conclude that we make the motion at that time and then have our deliberation. All right, everybody good with that? No? Okay. All right, staff.
Thank you, Mr. Kippett, and thank you, Commission. Before I get into the staff report itself, I just want to make some clarifying remarks. All the language pertaining to my recommendation are associated with the exhibits included in the plan development staff report for option A. Any modifications to the plans included in this staff report will be noted in the staff report and associated exhibits for City Council. And just for clarification purposes, option A is preferred by the applicant and is published on the agenda. Option B is provided solely to show the boards what would be developed if the applicant was to strictly adhere to the maximum square footage of a non-residential building at 6,000 square feet. It is also published on the agenda. So with those clarifying remarks, I will jump into the applicant's request. The applicant is requesting approval of a planned development district for 8 general commercial buildings with mixed uses, including retail, commercial, office, and similar uses with open space amenities on the subject property that is currently zoned GB General Business. The applicant has provided 2 site configuration options for consideration to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Some background for you all. The subject property is a 6.170 acre lot located on the east side of the intersection of FM 550 and SH 205. In May of 2024, City Council approved a zoning change for the property. The applicant also secured approval of a replat associated with this development, as well as TxDOT approval for access to SH 205. The concept plan and site plan are fully consistent with the approved replat. The applicant proposes development of 8 general retail, office, and commercial buildings with open space amenities on a single lot. Due to the project's scope and character, staff recommended a planned development district to establish appropriate development standards and land use designations. The staff recommendation is as follows. City staff recommends approval of the Chisholm Square Planned Development District. The development conforms to the City of McLendon-Chisholm zoning ordinance, the future land use plan, and the comprehensive plan for the SH 205 corridor. Specifically, city staff recommends approval of Exhibit A on the concept plan, Exhibit C, the site plan, Exhibit E, Option 3 of the facade renderings for Building A and H, Exhibit G, Option 3 of the facade renderings for Buildings B through G, applicant to modify facade color composition of buildings B through G in option 3 seen on exhibit G, to incorporate a red brick component that is consistent with Buildings A and Building H in option 3 of Exhibit E. City staff lastly recommends that additional permitted uses should be included as a part of the Chisholm Square Planned Development District, exclude landscape service, exterminating service, and furniture, fixture, and appliance store land use designations.
Thank you. Before I go to the applicant, can you walk us through each of the Exhibit A site, Exhibit C, et cetera, so we are all zeroed in on the same target?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you.
So the first approval item would be the concept plan, Exhibit A. And that is the colored rendering, just for clarification. And that matches with Exhibit C of the site plan.
Okay.
And so these two are the exact same site configurations. The reason that they are going through this plan development is because we have a line item in our established zoning ordinance that restricts developers to exceed 6,000 square feet for a non-residential development. So I recommended to the team over there to apply for a PD, therefore they can inherently have a variance.
All right. Any other comments you want to add?
No, but I'm happy to answer any questions and with follow-up dialogue.
I think, unless anybody on the commission has a clarifying question for staff, I'll go to the applicant, let them make their presentation.
I do want to make one comment before they speak. On May 20th is when they had that replat approved, and they also had an associated site plan, which is what you're looking at by Exhibit A and Exhibit C. Since that time, me and the applicants have worked directly to add significant amounts of detail by site configuration and architectural elements, just to clarify. Yeah, and with that, I would defer to the applicant.
And I just want to compliment your team on all the hard work, because it's one of those cases where you don't always know exactly what you want until you see it. And I know my own view is what you brought back is very consistent with what I'm thinking about relative to our future for residential or for retail development. So thank you. Sir.
Is this on? Okay. My name is Aaron Hamilton. I'm with Abide Designs. I've been assisting the owners group with the development of the architectural plans and the concept site plan. Want to publicly thank Peyton. He has helped us a ton with feedback and clarifications, both during and after business hours. So we definitely appreciate all the input and all the help that you've provided to help us get to this point. So I'd like to just read a short statement that kind of is an overview of the development. Chisholm Square is a new mixed-use commercial development in the heart of the Highway 205 corridor district of McLendon-Chisholm. The spacious and adaptable layout and design of the development and its buildings are meant to offer opportunities for various types of local businesses to anchor in this community. The retail and restaurant buildings fronting Highway 205 have broad, attractive storefronts with a Main Street feel and ample, convenient parking for up to 8 retail or restaurant tenants. All suites have recessed entries with durable and attractive exterior finishes and storefront floating awnings. Each suite has its own architectural identity and is designed to give business or tenant a unique and memorable space to connect with their patrons and the community. As you progress to the central courtyard between the 2 front buildings to the rear 6 buildings of the development, patrons will pass under the Chisholm Square steel banner element, which elicits another memorable connection between the tenant's business and this community. The 6 rear courtyard buildings are all configured so that their storefronts are visible throughout the looping main drive, from the courtyard green space and from the parking area. The position of the rear buildings creates a quiet and peaceful Main Street Square feel. Each building is configured for 2 tenants and designed to be flexible for businesses that require both office space and inventory, shipping, packaging, and or storage or workspace. The same Main Street feel from the front retail buildings is incorporated throughout all buildings, along with inviting storefront glass and recessed entries. While these buildings could service additional retail tenants, they're also ideal for a large range of tenants who will generate tax revenue and provide vital and essential services, goods, and entertainment for the surrounding community. The central courtyard green space is a large outdoor space ideal for patrons of any of the up to 20 tenants or businesses in this development, as well as their employees, to enjoy the outdoor seating area of benches and tables surrounded by shade trees and attractive flowers and shrubs. The positioning of all 6 rear building entries towards the courtyard ensures that every business is equally visible and their patrons are invited to conveniently visit and frequent multiple businesses. Generous continuous sidewalks are provided between and around all buildings, and parking areas allow pleasant walkability throughout. Perimeter landscape screening using lush evergreen trees between Chisholm Square and the neighboring residentially zoned properties will ensure privacy for neighboring residents and further incorporate natural elements into the landscape of the property. Chisholm Square is positioned to be a vibrant and vital part of the McLendon-Chisholm community and provide local office, retail, restaurant, entertainment, and arts businesses with a premier location to connect with and serve the rapidly growing population. Thoughtful design, integrated green spaces, and convenient patron access will attract businesses who desire to invest and build their businesses in McLendon-Chisholm while still keeping a rural, small town feel. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Do you have any questions, general questions here? Okay. Anything else you want to add, sir? We'll probably have some. I anticipate we'll, as we go into some of the details, but I just, any additional presentation you want to do? Okay. All right. Thank you. So with that, what I'd ask for is a motion for approval, and then we'll work through the details. Okay? So.
Yes, I make a motion to approve the Chisholm Square Plan Development District development. The development conforms to the City of McLendon-Chisholm zoning ordinance, the future land use plan, and the comprehensive plan for the corridor SH 205. Specifically, we recommend approval of Exhibit A, concept plan, Exhibit C, site plan, Exhibit E, option 3 of the facade rendering for buildings A and H, Exhibit G, option 3 for the facade rendering of building B through G, applicant to modify facade color composition of buildings B through G in option 3, Exhibit G, to incorporate a red brick component that is consistent with buildings A and H in option 3, Exhibit E. Additional permitted uses to be included as part of Chisholm Square Plan Development District, excluding landscape service, exterminating service, and furniture, fixture, or appliance store with the following conditions. Compliance with the development and usage standard of the McLendon Square Plan development included in this report. Specific development standards to be provided for inclusion in the adopting ordinances for the Plan Development District for the 2 commercial buildings fronting State Highway 205 to exceed the maximum permitted square footage for commercial development of 6,000 square feet to 10,957 square feet, and finally engineering approval of concept plan site plan.
Thank you. You got it. Do I have a second?
I will second.
All right, I have a motion and a second, so now I'm going to open it up for opportunity for comments. I think this will be where we'll have our exchange. So I'm going to start Robert, do you have any other additional comments?
No, sir. I don't. In looking at the documentation and the material provided, it seems to be I'm well pleased with what I see, and welcome to McLendon-Chisholm.
All right, super. Okay. Tommy?
Is this where we ask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, sorry guys, kind of new at this. A couple of things. I was curious why you, and now I've read so much in here. I circled one thing where you listed some of the things. One of them was a rehabilitation center. Of some of the buildings that might be in there, and I was curious if you had any. Well, it lists rehabilitation. Great answer. Okay, all right. And is this also where we asked what might be excluded?
Can we, if we're going to ask the applicant or myself questions, can we just make sure that one of them is at the microphone, just when this goes to City Council for them to have all the information?
Yeah. It's just,
Well,
so this is just, we'll just set ground rules here. This is exchange.
Yes.
Right? And then we'll come back and determine if we need to modify the motion. Right? Okay.
You know, just curious about if you've had any inquiries about vape shops coming in, to be specific about that one. I'm not sure if things like that can be excluded in businesses that might be in there. I guess that's my question.
Is it in the general business?
That would already be a use that's not permitted in the district. So they're inheriting the GB General Business District, and then on one of the last pages of my staff report are the additional permitted uses that they would like to include to inherit within their PD if it's approved. My recommendation for the three uses that I mentioned during my staff recommendation are just saying, hey, we should approve the additional uses that the applicant's asking for, excluding these three.
Okay, thank you.
Did not ask for a vape shop.
Okay, thanks. Perfect. That's all for me. Thank you. Going down to the end.
Yeah, my question, I'll add on to his, is so you didn't get asked by a tattoo parlor either, right?
I don't think we asked for a tattoo parlor either.
Yeah. Okay. Tom?
Yeah, I'm looking, how do you load and unload? Because it looks like everything is between the buildings. How do you get long things in there? Is there going to be anything around the edges?
So the main loop drive is sized for truck and trailers, but the unloading areas between the building is not intended to back truck and trailers in there. And we expect that the majority of the tenants will either use pallet jacks or have small box trucks, which could easily back in there to just unload goods. So there's no intent to back semi-trailers or anything like that between the buildings.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, sir?
First, I want to say I had a chance to open this up today. It looks good. You guys did a great job presenting. We do have a few questions here on it. I'm going to follow up a little bit more with Tom's question. Truck access, it looks like a serious question. It looks like there's one entry in there. Have we planned for delivery trucks? Looks like garbage dumpsters. Is that going to be adequate space for them to get in now?
So the garbage dumpsters or the refuse enclosures are actually shown on the site plan between the buildings. They're completely enclosed in masonry and comply with the zoning ordinance requirement. Gotcha. Those driveways for them to back in are only intended for a single vehicle to back in between the buildings. They're 22 feet wide, so they're oversized. And then we actually use the STAA turn templates for semi-trucks, and we don't expect a lot of semi-traffic there, but if someone had a drop, like a drop trailer shipment that they needed in, an actual 53-foot trailer can loop through and get in and out. And all of the driveways are far oversized beyond a standard fire lane. If you look at the site plan concept, you'll see the shaded fire lane there, and we have, I believe, 30 feet on all driveways. So we've considered all modes of traffic through there.
Super. Great response there. But let me ask you a little bit more specific. I see one entryway underneath the metal, which typically a little bit more reminiscent of like residential traffic. But is that the only access, or am I missing another access for a delivery truck, or is that going to be sufficiently tall?
Yeah, that's 17 feet.
Garbage removal.
Sorry, that's 17 feet off the bottom. And standard highway is 13 feet 6 max. Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. I want to ask staff a little bit. The parking spaces, I didn't count parking spaces today. We're satisfied with parking spaces?
Yes, sir. They do meet the parking requirements for this development.
Okay. And coverage ratio looks very satisfactory, but I haven't.
They are under the lot coverage for this zoning district. It's a maximum of 35%, and the applicant is requesting a development of a total of 21% lot coverage.
Okay, super. That's it. That's all I got.
Very great. So comes back to me. So I just want to make a couple of introductory comments up front, which is one, I really applaud the work done on bringing back renderings and on the elevations that are consistent, very consistent with what we're trying to accomplish in the city. So thank you for doing that. And I'm just one, as we go through commercial development, if there's a sense of anxiety we have, I think it's because we have a pretty clear understanding on residential development, and you can see the consistency as you would go around McLendon-Chisholm relative to the types of homes, the facades, et cetera, setbacks. We are not as mature in the commercial range, so I appreciate your patience as we work our way through that and develop that. I think it's a little harder sometimes with commercial, and as a start, you guys are setting a really nice standard that we'll be able to point to in the future. So thank you. So that high quality of construction, and I know there's how that progresses forward. I assume these are going to be steel frame buildings. Is that correct?
The exterior structure will be steel.
Yes, steel with a brick.
Full masonry facade.
Masonry facade.
Correct.
And so that and the landscaping, it doesn't have to be provisioned in the PD for landscaping other than the existence of it, but maintenance of that landscaping is typically we have, if it would be in residential development, it would be an HOA, right? We'd have responsible for those common areas. Who's going to be responsible for the common areas? Grass cutting, picking up trash, to replace, keeping the plants healthy. I'm sorry.
The ownership group will be responsible for all the management of the entire site, and it's a triple net lease, so that'll be passed along to all the tenants. They don't have much of a choice but to pay for it.
I would assume that would be the case. I would be more comfortable if we actually had a line in the PD that it would explain that, as we tend to do in other development.
And I'll just add, I am almost certain that there already is a provision in the zoning ordinance that it is on the property owner and or the developer to maintain landscape and open space amenities.
Okay. If staff doesn't believe it's necessary to include it in the PD,
I will check the zoning ordinance until, in the meantime, while we wait to go to city council, but I do believe it is in the established language.
Just so we're all clear and there's no confusion later
Sure.
on.
We have no problem with that. And I want to point out again that the three of us are the ownership group, and we all live here locally, all within a couple miles of this. So we want to look nice and be a part of our community.
Yeah. Again, the rendering, I have no issue with the renderings, and I know, obviously, you're going to strive to achieve the highest price point. That's
the goal.
Yeah, and so not a demand, a comment. This is a comment. We don't have any kind of standards for public art. So if that would be something you could consider adding to, at the entryway where you come in, nice horse statue would be, something to give it some look and feel in addition to the landscaping and the signage.
I'd love to work with the local artists on that as well.
Yeah, we have our, obviously our local artists. And I think that keeps reinforcing the theme we're all striving for. So a couple of other things. On page 19 of the packet, permitted uses, I'm not comfortable. Well, first, on the positive side, I believe we should include the furniture, fixture, and appliance store because I think that's a desirable haberdashery that could be utilized in the city as opposed to excluding it. I am concerned about private club because I don't know exactly what that means, and I know it can be a little soft definition of what's included in that.
Peyton, could you give us the definition of a private club?
I can pull up the definition. It is the one that I read to you earlier today, Mr. Kippett, but if you give me a moment, I will get the definition for you.
For the record, because I want the rest of the commission to hear that.
Okay, a private club per our zoning ordinance, quote, an establishment providing social and dining facilities as well as alcoholic beverage service to an association of persons and otherwise falling within the definition of and permitted under the provisions of that portion of Title III, Chapter 32, VTCA, Alcoholic Beverage Code, as hereafter amended, and as it pertains to the operation of private clubs. So it largely defers to state law, and we can look into the weeds of that.
Yeah. Is that something that's central to your concept?
I think that could encompass a lot of different uses. If we look at the Oasis, that's a private club, albeit athletics. It could be a private wine club where people store their wine, come and enjoy it at kind of a shared setting. I've got some friends that have one of those in Dallas that's extremely high-end and popular. So that could be an option. There's really a number of different things you could put in there, but it was already in the use chart, so we included it in there.
Yeah, I'm just, and my anxiety is about enforcement, right? So it's not, I want it to be successful commercially, but private clubs can, sometimes can go the opposite direction. I just want to make sure we have the ability to enforce in the city and obviously not detract from the other businesses.
Just to note, a private club, as it currently stands, requires a specific use permit under the general business zoning district.
Right, but we're not, so this is a hypothetical, but we're including it in the PD, so it'll be by right once it's in the PD.
If you were to make that motion, that is correct.
Yeah, and so I guess I would prefer to see it not in the PD, that if you wanted to have if the business opportunity comes up, then you come back for a special use permit. Right? Am I reading that correctly?
Specific use permit.
Specific use permit, yes. Thank you.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so
I think we'd be fine with that.
Okay, perfect. So then that would be, and then the other is restaurants with alcohol sales, and this has come up before the commission before. McLendon-Chisholm doesn't have a standing ordinance permitting alcohol usage. We have had the discussion before concerning moving the city in that direction. There's a couple of ways to do it. We can do it through special use permits. We can do it through a state or through an election process. But this would, by having it in the PD as stated, would set the precedent, and that I'm not comfortable with now. I'm good with the restaurants. I just, again, at a minimum, the alcohol sales would require coming back for a special use permit, or work with city staff and explore other opportunities or options to do that. I mean, it's just that it's not the first time this has come up. So I'm going to ask, do you guys have any angst one way or another?
Is there any limitations on the current alcohol sales?
Yeah, there is. We have no ordinance that authorizes any use of a restaurant to sell alcohol. Doesn't exist today in our code of ordinance. So, by putting in this PD, we are now would create solid policy and precedent. It would be a precedent that would be set.
How does it read?
Just restaurant with alcohol sales. It's pretty straightforward, sir. I'm sorry. Can you use the mic, please?
Yeah, so I think what Justin was asking was the Rosini next door. They went through.
That's a special carve out under Texas law. Because that's why they only serve Texas wines. It's a specific state carve out.
Yeah, so, just to give you the reasoning behind why we're going through this PD at the advice of city staff was so that we don't have to come back 20 times for specific use permits with you guys and move at a little bit faster pace when we have tenants that are ready to move in. And so our hope would be that in asking this, if we do get a tenant that's a food establishment, maybe a national chain, that we don't lose them to Rockwall where it's a little easier right up the road and they're willing to come park here in McLendon-Chisholm, because as you guys know, we've got to drive a pretty long ways to get any food or any type of, we got Sonic. I think I'm tired of Sonic. I don't know about you guys, but they do have a smash burger now, which is new, so I'll eat that till I'm tired of it. But our hope is just to make it, not set any barriers or hurdles that they have to overcome to come sign a lease.
Yeah, I'm not opposed. This is not opposition to. I just want to make sure that the commission is aware that we're going to set a clear precedent moving forward. So I believe that the citizens of McLendon-Chisholm, if asked the question, would support alcohol sales. I don't know if they want to have any specific restrictions on those alcohol sales. That would be part of the discussion.
I have a question for you, Mr. Kibbitt. If we were to do a citywide election for this to be a permitted use, would we be able to make a motion that has an item contingent on that citywide election, so they would not have to come back in 6 months or 2 years and do the specific use permit? Because as it stands right now, those tenants, those people, a normal restaurant, if you will, would have to come in for a specific use permit.
Right. No, I'm mindful of the precedent it sets that is do that. Right now the process would be to go for a specific use permit, right? A SUP would be the course of action. For agility of business, you want to have it included in the PD. I understand the logic. I'm just saying we're setting a precedent by doing that bypasses asking our citizens what they want to do. There you have it. So but I want this to move forward, so I'm trying to find the right answer here.
Train of thought on that. My first thought is too much limitation on that or waiting on that's going to handicap your potential to get good tenants that we want in McLendon-Chisholm. So what's the balance of that? If we need to go to the city, is that something we need to do at a later time? If we need to remediate that to some degree right now, could we put a clause that says the income has to come 51% minimum by food, and that would eliminate any primary alcohol sales, but would still let them bring in good quality if they have an interest from a Chewy's or whoever to come in. They want the bar tab to come in, but could we put a clause in there and not handicap them moving forward?
Are you stating to put an approval condition that would, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this a true statement? We recommend approval contingent on this specific use not exceeding the 51% sale. I'm just trying to understand what you would like to include.
This is worded for restaurant with alcohol. Mm-hmm. Condition that the restaurant's 51% sales of food, off of food sales.
Without consulting with the attorney, I believe you could put that as a conditional approval item. I would need to speak with Mr. Halla.
That's just a kind of it's kind of a fix right now so that we don't have someone coming in there with a nightclub or something like that that's getting 75% sales with alcohol and creating what we don't want. It would still be a restaurant, but my wife and I could go down there and eat and get a drink if we wanted to.
Is that
I think that's a great idea. Okay. Great compromise, and I think that basically achieves what we're trying to achieve as well.
I really don't like the idea of setting a certain percentage. I mean, you get into, if somebody thinks 51% is a good number, I may think 30% is a good number. Anytime you set any kind of limit, you're restricting the restaurant's ability to do business. I mean, I don't know of any other place where you have to have a 51% food sale.
That's City of Rockwell.
It's actually quite common.
That's City
of Rockwell does that?
That's exactly the same way.
Okay. Then in that case, if the precedent has been set in the City of Rockwell, the restaurant that is required the 51% would not eliminate McLendon-Chisholm to go to Rockwell because they would be facing the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, then I withdraw that. Tom, do you have any?
I would also add that the state of Texas, that's the way they view restaurants versus bars as well. Right. For concealed handgun.
Yes, I think that's a resolution that I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied on that point. So I make sure we have to be clear with City Council to make sure they understand that. And then the last thing, I want to have this as a discussion first, but this is the roll-up door question. So on the renderings, it's the interior buildings that have the roll-up doors, the first two only on one side and then the remainder. And I know you're doing this for business flexibility. I understand what the intent and purpose is. What businesses, maybe ask it this way, what businesses would require that kind of door? Because I know obviously not all businesses require a roll-up door. And where I'm going with this is what I don't want to have happen is turn this into a mini warehouse district, right, where you have multiple buildings that have the ability to have a pretty significant footprint for storage, warehouse structure. So.
Sure. So our vision and intent would be maybe an HVAC company that needs to store everything inside, but their guys take their trucks home at night, or maybe they park a few trucks out in front of their unit. The big piece of this is no outside storage, so nothing can be stored outside. If there's anything, it has to be within the building itself. I know Justin wants to put his roofing company in there, and he wants to move their business in there. And so for them, they're going to store a few materials in the back, and they've got their trucks and trailers, and all those will stay inside the building. But they need the office space, that hybrid model, where they can have offices in the front and then store their stuff in the back.
The intent would also have vehicles in the
Correct. Again, it kind of comes back to flexibility. I mean, we're not saying all tenants are going to do that, but right. there is a huge demand for that type of tenant.
It's the visual, although I think you've mitigated much of the visual issues with the way the design is now. And does everybody follow me? But I'm worried. Everybody starts with good intentions, and then things happen and they go in a different direction. And I just don't want to. We had a case where there was an attempt to have other kinds of storage facility in the same general area, and obviously had a lot of pushback from the citizens concerning that. I don't want to see it drift in that direction.
Sure, I'll touch on that a little bit more. From a storage facility, no one would be able to afford this for storage. It just wouldn't make sense. First off, we also see like CrossFit gyms or dance studios, that kind of stuff, where they can roll up a door, have an inside area where they work out. Some of our other developments have got a USA Ninja Challenge, and so they've got a Kids Ninja Warrior gym set up in that back space with party rooms for birthday parties and that kind of stuff in the front area. And so that's a pretty common use as well. And so I think, it gives a lot of flexibility for part of the year to be able to open that up and have those spaces. And I also want to point out that all those buildings in the back are set up to be possible dual tenant. So that means one door on one side would service one unit and the other door on the other side would service the other unit.
Would it be possible to, what kind of business, it's a philosophical question, what kind of business impact if you removed one of the, say you have these two, if just each building had one side that had the larger access?
Well, I think that would limit half of each building in the back. And so we've taken those off all the buildings across the front, which is 40-something% of the development, and then the front half of the other two buildings. So at this point, we've already taken it off basically 50% of the buildings as it stands. Okay. And that was at the request of city staff.
I don't want to be the sole voice holding this up on this point.
Just curious, are y'all anticipating retail in those back buildings, or are you anticipating hybrid office primarily?
I think it's going to be a combination of both. We've got other tenants like an Alpha Graphics where they've got a retail space in the front, but they need that warehouse for all their printing stuff in the back. Or a Sherwin-Williams, they've got retail in the front, but they need the warehouse for the back for paint or mixing. And so really that's the type use and product that we're trying to deliver. And these are all things, like a Ferguson, they're going to bring in plumbing or something potentially and have warehouse in the back, but have a showroom for hardware and plumbing and that kind of stuff for homes. So that's what we're envisioning.
And the intent is to not have service vehicles parked.
Correct.
In the front of the building.
Correct.
So this will alleviate that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess I can. You know what I'm nervous about. I think we've had the discussion.
Understood. I think they're all great questions and comments, and we put quite a bit of thought into this. So, again, we want it to be a staple in the community.
So I guess, Mr. Rohde, you're willing to modify your motion to strike private club, add back in the furniture, fixture, and appliance, and modify this restaurants with alcohol sales 50 to the 51%
Yes, I am.
standard.
You're going to have to write it down if you want me to read it.
Are you going to read the whole thing again?
You got what those modifications would be on the motion.
I will be able to rewatch the agenda and adjust my staff report accordingly.
Good.
I would not be able to speak it at this moment.
Okay. All right. So as long as we can you feel comfortable, we can capture everything. We're good. And you're good with the motion. Is good with that. Okay. Any other further discussion? Okay. Well, with that, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Show that unanimous. I thank you guys for working through this with us, your patience, and I wish you well. And as we go to City Council, I think it's going to be a great step forward. Okay. Thank you. All right, and with that, we've completed it. I'll move to item 8. Ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, sleeping on it.
I second.
All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
You guys are asleep down on that end of the
I